to the Chief Executive's report, and as you'll notice, we do not have the author of the Chief Executive's report sitting next to me. So I would like councillors to be gentle. I would just suggest that if there are questions that really do need to be directed to the Chief Executive, then I'll defer the report to when she's here, which will be the next meeting of the council. But if we want to just quickly highlight any of those issues, but otherwise adopt the report and then ask Carleen to come back to us on those other matters. So, Glenn?
Oh, thank you. I have a straightforward, well, in my view, I think it's a straightforward question. Just on page 7, about debt, about the year in which we might anticipate that net debt to revenue spillover, so whether perhaps Diane or
Yeah, that's a simple question to ask the acting Chief Executive.
Diane's come specially for those questions.
Right?
Last night.
Right. Di.
Oh, no, it's just...
No. Di Brandish is here to...
Yeah.
How the microphone, Diane? Big one.
This one?
Yeah.
The answer to, when you say spillover, I'm sorry, could you just re-ask the
Okay,
question?
so that ratio of not exceeding 250% of
Yes.
debt to revenue, we had it pinned down to a certain year that's now pushing out?
Well, the financial strategy actually had us not exceeding the ratio.
Exactly.
Remember, that was part of the issue of looking at some of the sales proceeds and also the capital program. It's true, as the capital program is being revisited, then it does push out, but it will not be exceeded. It's just the peak moves as the components move.
So that's probably more my question, where that peak is anticipated to be now.
Well, right now it's still where it was in the long-term plan because we haven't finalised the annual plan. But as the components are pulled together, which is scheduled for around the 18th of December, we will have a clearer picture and come back to you then.
We will have all of that detail available to us as we go into the annual plan process.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, Yanni.
Yeah, thank you. I was just wondering if we could ask for a report under the customer services and online channels, page 9. We've got a lot of reporting on the number of requests people are making, but we don't have any feedback on the resolution of those requests. So I know a number of us are just getting contacted with people who are quite concerned. We've just had another one this week. Is it possible to get some information back around how we're processing those requests and what the not the acknowledgement of the request, but the completion of the request being done is? So maybe, X number of requests were made for potholes and 50% were done in 1 month, 50% are being done over the next few while. But it's just, it would be really good in terms of a future report to get some understanding so that we, and possibly some solutions to how we might actually address some of those concerns that have been outstanding.
Yeah, I think that's a reasonable request, and it's I probably think it's an easy addition to the monthly report. Is how those are tracking for resolution. I think one of the challenges of SnapSend Solve is that it doesn't have a mechanism for advising what the outcome was. Yeah. And given the scale of not complaints but issues that get put into the system, I think it's something like 100,000 in a year. Is it? It's an extraordinary number that come through the system, and I think that's going to be a challenge as we move to a much more streamlined and electronic system. Whereby we can feed back those outcomes very quickly. I mean, I did think that having SnapSend Solve followed by Solve SnapSend would have been quite a good model, but it also would be incredibly challenging. But to give people answers to the fact that the work has been completed It's also challenging in a contracting environment because a contractor may in fact clear a particular problem but not necessarily have resolved what the person complained about.
So it seemed to me like a really simple way of addressing it would be that the people in the call centre.
No, we're not going to solve the
task,
problem
but-
around the table, but
Yeah.
we're going to make sure that that's part of future reporting.
Okay,
Ali.
Thank you. Just adding to that as well, I think the issue is that so many comments, requests come in from so many different areas that that's one of the key issues. And I didn't understand that until recently, so it's made it quite clear how difficult it is, and it's not a quick fix. My question's on page 9. It's actually under Snap Send Solve too, but it's just around graffiti. And I wonder if it's seasonal because of weather and lighter nights and what have you, but certainly in Shirley Papanui we're seeing spates of it of a weekend. Is there any ability to break those graffiti complaints and issues into wards, please?
Yes.
And can I just add, the graffiti team is phenomenal. One of the most positive things that we get feedback on is the pace and speed at which that graffiti is covered up, which is key to controlling the issue, but I just wanted to say that publicly, they're phenomenal.
Great. And the last audit they did, the graffiti had dropped by 52% in the city.
Was that an annual thing or?
Yes, it's the annual audit,
Okay.
yeah.
Thanks.
David.
Thank you. Just on the health and safety page on page 17, I'm just wondering really whether we needed some more detail. Maybe it doesn't need to come here, it might come to reg and consents on the sort of actions we are taking over lost time injuries, particularly. We haven't had any serious harm ones, but I'd like to probably just see a little more detail of what sort of incidents we are attracting and how we are responding to them and how we are moving towards preventing that sort of action escalating.
Right. So that information is definitely available, so we'll get it to the appropriate committee.
Cool. Paul.
This is probably just for noting and something that I'd like the Chief Executive to actually look into, and I know with some of the policy bylaws we're actually reviewing at the moment, just the on the graffiti, whilst we've actually been really, seen a big reduction, we've seen a massive increase in derelict properties becoming a target and a real disgrace to the city. If you walk down Hereford Street, in fact, you look a lot across the skyline, the graffiti is out of control, and we need to fix it. We need to figure out how we can actually get some of these maybe vacant landowners or property owners to actually sort out their problems, because I think it's just actually a bad reflection on the city currently at the moment.
I've raised that as well.
Yep. So is there anything, I don't think there's anything stopping us receiving the report, and we'll get the Chief Executive to follow up on those issues. So moved by Jamie, seconded by Tim. I'll put that motion. All those in favour say aye. Those opposed say no. That's carried. Thanks very much. Thanks, Di.